Well, after all the flak and flannel, Declan Rice could barely have been given a more gentle introduction on his second international debut. England had just gone 3-0 up. Raheem Sterling was strutting his imperious stuff en route to a hat-trick. Jadon Sancho had been nutmegging and Dele Alli backheeling. News Group Newspapers Limited. Declan Rice looked calm and assured for England in their dominant win. A family-heavy Friday night Wembley crowd was in party mood, and so Rice was greeted with a rapturous ovation. On the eve of his England bow, the FA had been sent into panic stations by the revelation that Rice had posted an apparently pro-IRA Instagram post 4 years ago, aged 16. But Rice, the 20-year-old they refer to as the Basmati Busquets in the East End, could scarcely have been given a warmer welcome. Then again, this England setup is a remarkably inviting place for any new boy right now. We are light years away from the era when the England camp was clique-ridden and players wore the three lions heavily, so often playing with fear when they stepped out at Wembley. Southgate has banished all that. Warm ovation for Rice. West Ham man Rice, who had controversially turned his back after winning 3 senior Republic of Ireland caps and friendlies, looked immediately at home after his 63rd-minute introduction in place of Alli. He is now very likely to make his first England start against Montenegro in Podgorica on Monday, with his new side already looking absolutely nailed on to qualify for next summer's European Championship finals, having put their strongest rivals to the sword here. Southgate insisted that the storm over Rice's social media posting had no effect on his not starting this Group A opener. But you had to wonder when, after just 17 minutes, Eric Dyer limped off and Rice, the obvious like-for-like replacement, was snubbed in favor of Ross Barkley. When Dyer initially went down a few minutes earlier, Rice was sent to warm up and received a warm ovation from supporters nearby. Rice had simply been guilty of a childish mistake, on Sports Dave Kidd. In truth, it was never likely to be overly hostile. It is when England play away from home that the no-surrender Boers make up a sizable percentage of support, and that is when Rice might conceivably hear some stick. We can hope that they'll be intelligent enough to realize that Rice had simply been guilty of a childish mistake, but intelligence isn't particularly evident with significant sections of England's away support. Many had expected Rice to start before the Instagram furore. Despite his youth, this is clearly a player who looks capable of growing into the world-class holding midfielder England lacked at the World Cup. Southgate admitted on the eve of the match that it was always easier for managers to take gambles on inexperienced kids in attacking areas, hence Sancho getting his first competitive start 3 days short of his 19th birthday. With Rice, there was clearly a reluctance to chuck him in, despite his excellent form with West Ham. It had been goalless when Southgate resisted the early temptation to throw on Rice for Dyer. By the time he came on, it was game over, Sterling having swiveled to score his second and England's third between the time Rice had stripped off his tracksuit and when he entered the fray. The stop-start nature of international football often makes momentum so difficult to cling to, especially after this break of more than 4 months without a fixture. Not so for England here. They had finished the old year on such a high by topping their Nations League group, and it did not take them to hit their stride again. The Czechs aren't what they used to be, certainly nothing like their own golden generation who reached the Euro '96 final here. In fact, they are ranked 42nd in the world, even below the snake's belly depths of Scotland. Yet still, this was impressive, not just the results but the entertainment factor. England fans angry as ITV Hub goes down, leaving millions unable to watch Euro 2020 qualifier against Czech Republic, and while there are conundrums in midfield, everything is looking rosy in attack for Southgate. The front three of Harry Kane, Sterling and Sancho were fluid and free-flowing. Kane often dropped deep, as when he produced the killer pass in the build-up to England's 24th-minute opener, a diagonal effort to Sancho, who squared for Sterling to score his third goal in as many internationals, following OMN from a 3-year drought. Sancho, who actually started slowly, was suddenly full of it, performing a double nutmeg on Filip Novak and David Pavelka. Just before halftime, Alli, who'd played deeper than usual and had not been at his most influential, produced a gorgeous back heel for Sterling, who was awarded a penalty he had probably gone looking for, which Kane, as always, converted. Sterling's second was a peach, his third courtesy of a huge deflection, and England's fifth was a ridiculous own goal from Chelsea Aloni Tomas Callas after sub Callum Hudson-Odoi forced a save from